I'm taking a classic French bistro recipe, tweaking it up a little bit, and in the process, very likely raising my cholesterol. Welcome back to Bourdain.
Everybody should know how to use a knife. Use everything, waste nothing.
Let's start at the beginning.
It ain't that hard, okay?
I hope you're doing well. I am doing okay-ish. We are cooking through Anthony Bourdain's layout cookbook, doing every recipe for the first freaking time. We're making the simple pork rillette. It sets the tone for an enjoyable, eat with your hands and have a good time kind of evening. That is my kind of style. Personally, I don't enjoy when I feel as though I'm falling within a rubric to enjoy some food. I am always drawn to dishes like this that can be prepped in advance, and then you impress people very easily. On top of that, spread it on a crusty baguette. You're good to go. I have the man's cookbook linked down below in the description of this video if you would like to check it out. Let's get moving. This is nice and simple. I'm going to incorporate some aromatics I have lying around the house. Bourdain does not call for these, however, why not utilize them? 1 medium yellow-sized onion, skinning it and cutting it down the core into quarters. 1 carrot, I don't skin it. I wish it was organic, but apparently it is now. Giving it a little rinse off, we're good to go. Follow up with 1 celery rib, roughly chopped, and we have a little mirepoix here. Next, we will need a bouquet garni. Why does mine look so weird? Because I make these in advance and store them in the freezer. Moving on to our pork belly. This would be 2 pounds, however, I am a small-time YouTuber, so I cut our recipe in half with 1 pound. We're going to cut this into 2-inch cubes. Doesn't have to be super particular. Next, the pork shoulder, which my homie Keegan has hooked me up with the capa, apparently a phenomenal piece of the pork. We're going to cut this into 2-inch cubes as well. Now everything goes into a Dutch oven. Something interesting I find here with the seasoning, Bourdain would have us only use a teaspoon of salt. I'm going much heavier. We're talking probably about 2 tablespoons and about a teaspoon of white pepper just to maintain a nice aesthetic without the grinded black pepper. Again, using what's lying around, I have a clove of garlic. Why not smash this, seasoning my countertop in the process, and throw this into the mix. Toss in 2 to 3 cups of filtered water. I don't know if it's essential to filter water, but I always feel like if I can, why not? Follow this up with a flavor booster I'm kind of proud of. We're going to put a little brandy in here. I don't know if this is going to do much at all, but I take 2 tablespoons and sprinkle this in. Throw the lid on, and we are going to cook this at 300 degrees for about 3 hours. I would like you to note here, Bourdain would actually have us slow simmer this on a range. However, my range is electric. It can be hard to monitor, and I'm taking some inspiration from a past lamb dish we've made. I know this is going to work out. As you can see, the pork will let you know when it's ready. It just pulls apart. There's almost an innate sense, I feel, that we know when meat is ready to go. Separate the pork and allow it to cool for about 10 to 15 minutes because we are going to handle this. And I mean handle it. Just look at that. While that is cooling off, I figure to strain our cooking liquid. Bourdain actually doesn't have us do anything with this, which I always feel is a sin. These ingredients have spent time lending themselves to this lovely stock. Why not reserve it? Why not use it for a future recipe or just drink it how I may or may not be doing? Hello there. A little time for comment of the week. Don't mind what's going on here. Titus Wolf commented he enjoys pierogies while watching my video. I am honored. I am always a fan of cheese, potato, sauerkraut, you name it, filled dumplings. Amen, brother. Back to it. I have these cute little jars I'm prepping up for the rillette. I bought them on Amazon, relatively inexpensive, and I have them linked in the description of this video if you would like to check them out. Everything is in its place. It is now time for my favorite part, breaking apart this pork. I initially tried using my hands. However, I found it just wasn't as effective as Bourdain recommends using some forks to shred up the pork. This accomplishes 2 things. 1, keeping your hands clean, and 2, maintaining the pork's natural filament. I suppose you could use your hands, but I found it much more effective just to scrape away at these things, much like those bear claw things you see some kid going ham with at the beach. And we are left with what, in my opinion, looks like pulled pork, minus the barbecue sauce. It smells amazing. I may or may not have eaten some off camera. Now we pack our glass jars with this lovely pork, filling it about 4/5 of the way, and I found a spoon was very helpful to kind of tamp down the pork. This is important because we are going to drizzle some fat on top of here. Bourdain would have us use rendered pork fat. I didn't have that on hand, so I take some rendered duck fat. Taking my time here, I did notice I didn't tamp these down well enough because the fat started seeping into the pork. Whether that is desired or not, I'm not positive. Now cover these with plastic wrap. Upon further thought, I think I could have used the freaking lids they came with, but Bourdain said plastic wrap. I figure let's just do this. Find some room in your fridge, and I recommend to hide them in your fridge because these are supposed to hang out for 3 days for all the flavors to marry up. It is very tempting to just dive in here with a spoon. With that, let's fast forward and get back to present day Mitch. So here we are, 2 days later, not 3 like Bourdain said, because I am impatient. Simple presentation, Bourdain says you could put it in a cylindrical mold, or I think just serving it in the jar would look nice and plate it up with some cornichons. Let me show you real quick what I mean. Pork rillette, everything's there. That is something to be savored. That is something to just enjoy, chill out. It reminds me a little bit, and people are gonna hate this, maybe, spammy. It's got like a spam like vibe to it. Not, you know, not on the nose. Maybe it needs a little salt, but I think that's where these kick in. Like why have we not had this food before? If I were to do something different, maybe a little less fat, I don't know if that's the vibe. As it comes up to room temperature, it almost gets better. And it's like a meal in itself. Like I could see literally 2 or 3 bites of this. I'm good for like hours. Something to be tried. Thank you for spending your time with me. I have another video over here to your right. If you want to check it out, what I was working on earlier with the whole stuffed chicken ordeal. Surprisingly easy episode of Back to Bourdain. Minus that.
Stay organized and clean up after yourself. You do the best you can.